At 83, my dad thought nothing was ever wrong with him. Then a CAT scan showed a spot of cancer on his bladder. Fighting cancer is inevitable, but why add chemotherapy to Dad's neuropathy and make him miserable? It's not what happens, but how I respond as a son. I'm the middle of 7 children who all descended from a long line of opinionated people. I'm from the school of thought, don't tell, don't treat. Mom would agree. If you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. 30 years of practicing emergency medicine has taught me 2 things. Most lives end tearfully, and most adult children have not had serious illness conversations with themselves before engaging parents, trusting doctors to have this talk. Thanks to Grand Canyon University, the stage is set for a heart-to-heart, real serious illness conversation with parents. A real serious illness conversation is both a medical issue and a family affair, with the medical provider on one side and an equal family provider on the other. Together, they embody the mind's wants and the heart's wishes within the person with serious illness. The medical provider satisfies the mind's wants for hope and change. The family provider speaks to the heart's wishes for love and acceptance. By my count, Dad had 7 children and 1 primary doctor, but 7 medical providers and 1 family provider who happened to be a physician. My dad had a 1 in 7 chance of remaining at ease in the heart center over fighting to the end in the medical center. Many people have 0 chance of letting nature take its course. My devotion to love Dad without attachment is your duty to loved ones with serious illness. If we don't get relationships right with our parents, we don't get relationships right with others. Now, I can hear moms saying, mind your own business and don't tell people what to do. But she never watched Oprah. Oprah calls us to remember the Spirit. The Spirit inspires our imagination, our intuition, which gives me the superpower to know the heart of my dad through listening to my own heart and the voice of empathy. Caring for the whole person, mind, body, and spirit, defines holistic care. My new identity as a holistic medical coach was born out of necessity. Parents with serious illness need reasonable options and wellness coaching. Children often compel parents to fight to the end with the Nike command, just do it. I play the devil's advocate and whisper in their other ear, don't do it. I remember chatting with a woman who didn't wish to die on a ventilator, but her children insisted she be resuscitated. They weren't going to have this conversation about mom dying. There was no pledge of love and acceptance at the end. Who will love this woman if not her children? I stand up here to stand up for her. She's like my mom. This talk is personal to me. Her wishes are my wishes. And I know the pain of looking for love and acceptance when others find something wrong with you. Life lessons are abundant in the ER, and each shift is another episode of Ripley's Believe It or Not. Once I walked into a room, and lo and behold, an elderly woman and her daughter were chatting like they were in a coffee house. Usually in emergencies, mom and daughter are at odds with one another. I excused myself, said I was Dr. Haselhorst, and asked, what's going on? B said, I'm having difficulty breathing and just left the other hospital. My lungs are full of fluid from heart failure. Helen gently interrupted. Wait, Mom, you wanted to talk to the doctor about something else. B swallowed her pride, said, I can't live like this anymore. She appeared to be a bodybuilder struggling to lift a weight from her chest. I quickly grabbed it and racked it. B had reached her max point, and just to be certain, I asked, "Are we talking hospice?" And Helen said, "I'm not sure." But the answer was certainly yes. When hope fades and quality of life ends, it's time. It's time to call hospice stat. I darted from the room with this mom-like marching ardor: no hope, call hospice, no ifs, ands, or buts. Nurses call me Dr. Haselhorst. When I returned to the room, B and Helen were enjoying an after-church social with their minister. I shook my head in disbelief. Did B have any respect for the ER? She was the healthiest person I saw that day, and certainly wasn't dying on hospice. While B was preparing for the inevitable, she set the stage for my TED Talk about smooth end-of-life transitions by accomplishing 5 tasks in tall order. First, make peace with yourself to end suffering. Then, make peace with your family, make peace with your doctor, make peace with your God, and finally, make peace with hospice to validate your decision so Helen's not negligent. B demonstrated the best practice for maintaining control is making peace. Her power struggle ended by replacing expectation with validation. Seriously, when we want for nothing, hope and change shift to love and acceptance. B lived the rest of her days in the state of grace in the heart center. Now the common practice for end-of-life care is to treat Miss B like Queen E, Queen Elizabeth. When her regal quality of life royally sucks, I'm hesitant to call hospice. The dutiful don't do hospice, they expect miracles, especially when mom's loyal servants all join in chorus, "God save the Queen." God help me if I even breathe a word of hospice. The dutiful want everything done to save mom's life. Where's the saving grace for Her Majesty? I picture Kate Middleton as the epitome of grace under fire. Like a true holistic practitioner, she remembers the Spirit before going out in public and showering others with compassion, like Mother Teresa. Who decides how you die? Next week, on April 16th, National Healthcare Decisions Day, you decide what you want when life's in jeopardy. Hope and change or love and acceptance? Is your family provider acting as a medical power of attorney or a merciful power of attorney? Does your advanced care directive, like Medicare enrollment, provide for medical care or holistic care? Your decision informs your parents' decision and your children's action in serious illness conversations. Buckle up now, because once we go over the hill, the caution sign reads, "Serious illness ahead." Imagine life as a highway with rules of the road for safe lane changes and smooth end-of-life transitions. Each lane offers a different perspective and directive for the times to live, survive, and die. The right lane represents the wellness center for a balanced quality of life that's situated between the left lane of the medical center, that's fast and furious and often reckless, and the exit lane of the heart center, that's nice and easy and more compassionate. We need to practice staying in this lane to stir up and settle down emotions. Controlling emotions is like driving a car with a clutch. Given the fight or flight reaction of a life-threatening situation, we automatically hit the gas pedal and enter the medical center. The clutch gives us 3 seconds to respond, look both ways, shift gears mindfully. All roads lead to the emergency room, and the fatal decision to choose between the ICU and hospice. There's no middle road to prolonging or ending suffering. With serious illness, you never know what will happen from one day to the next. Perhaps a head injury, confusion from an infection, or a spot of cancer on the CAT scan. What do? Most people do everything because most doctors treat everything. This is why 70% of people who wish to die at home end up suffering as patients in medical facilities. Let's get real. The United States ranks 43rd in compassionate end-of-life care, just behind Romania. Knowing what to say or do is based on your parents' ability to say and do. Dad was clear there was nothing wrong with him, and when he couldn't control his bladder, there was no reason to fix him, just treat his symptoms. Remember this, when life's in jeopardy, the final answer is, what is love and acceptance? It's do no harm. ER doctors treat all patients the same, but not at the end of life. Given the power of patient autonomy, there's no standardized end-of-life care. We need to change this. We need to stop talking about non-binding, indecisive advance directives and normalize crisis standards of care into a universal health care directive that's based upon the medical diagnosis, the medical prognosis, personal preference, quality of life, and good conscience. These are our triage criteria that determine the times to live, survive, and die while safeguarding smooth end-of-life transitions. Patient autonomy might be ethical, but it's actually inhumane, asking parents to fend for themselves. This nonsense compelled a woman to yell in her mother's ear, "The doctor needs to know if you want to die." I wanted to die. 10 years prior, I walk in on a nurse and wife taking turns yelling, "Breathe, breathe, breathe," at a 93-year-old man trying to rest in peace. I vowed then to do everything in my power to stop the horrific abuse of the dying. Our universal health care directive is the golden rule for treating others humanely at the end of life. Marianne Williamson proclaimed, "Our deepest fear is we are more powerful than measure." Often the most powerful measure is to let it be. Heartfelt wishes buried deep in the soul inspire the spirit in emergencies to do no harm. Do not call 911. Do not resuscitate. Do not medicalize the end of life. Sanctify it. Match the certainty of death with the certainty of being right. This certainty is called dignity in the book Wishes to Die For. And these wishes are like chicken soup for the soul that make us feel better once we're empowered to live well and end well. We all want to die peacefully, but most don't want the olive branch that hospice represents. Hospice is not the end of life. It's the end of suffering. It's not medical aid in dying, it's medical aid for the dying. I know, if it's medical, it's complicated. If it's holistic, it's simple. Let's keep hospice simple and call it holistic aid in being. Let them be. Like the Heart Center, the incubator of hospice protects and cares for loved ones like precious newborns in the circle of life. The greatest gift you will ever know is to love and to have that love returned. Dad gave me a good life from the beginning, and I provided him a smooth end of life by embracing his self-determination with our shared heart. Dad didn't die of cancer. His life ended peacefully, knowing nothing was wrong with him. Please bring this heartfelt awareness to light. during real serious illness conversations with parents. And please share this message of love and acceptance with them so they won't feel the need for resuscitation. In closing, the light in me honors the light in you and your loved ones. Rest in peace, Mom and Dad.